Okay, so this is a little tutorial to figure out how to make a graph from the data of your predator-prey simulation. First of all, you should have taken the code for predator-prey and created a couple of lists. I created num bunnies and num foxes so that as the simulation was working, it would put the number of foxes and the number of bunnies into the list repeatedly, so I would do it every 1 second. So once I've got my list with the number of bunnies or the number of foxes at a given moment of time, simulation is done. Now I want to export that data to get it into Excel or Google Sheets so I can graph it. So here we go. Start by, I want to graph this, I hit the control button and then I hit export. And that's going to go to a little text file, and I'm saving it on my desktop. You could save it somewhere else on your documents or wherever you like, but somewhere you can find it. So I'm just putting it on the desktop of the Mac for now so I can find it quickly. I'll hit save, and then I'm going to do the same thing for num bunnies. I will save that as well. And now I'm going to go in and find those, and I'm going to open them up, and they are on my desktop. So here they are. I've got both of them. I'm going to select them both and open them, and they create two little text files. It's in the text edit app. So here is a little icon for it down here. So my first one is num foxes, and then I have num bunnies. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of the data. It looks like it's already selected. I'm going to select all, Apple A, and copy. So now I have all that fox data. Now I want to get it into a Google Sheet. So I'm going to go back to Chrome, and I'm going to open up within Google Drive a new Google Sheet. And I have my num foxes data, so I'm going to put right here, I'm going to put a header. I'm leaving this column blank for a minute. I'm going to write number, I'll put a number sign, number of foxes. And I'm going to click the next box and paste. And all my data shows up for the foxes. And then the other one is going to be the number of bunnies. So I'm going to go back and get that data. So it's in the text edit. So here we go here. Here's the num bunnies file. I'll select all and copy. I'm going to go back to my Google Sheet and paste. So there we go. So there's all my data. Now, what we were doing was collecting how many foxes or bunnies there were at any given moment of time. And by waiting 1 second in between each collection time, I was able to get these numbers as a function of time. So I'm going to say time, and I'll put it in seconds. And this first value was at t equals 0. That was the very beginning. And then the next one was at t equals 1 second. So here's a really slick thing. We want to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as we count down. Here's a fast way to make the Google Sheets do it. Grab both boxes, and then grab this little box down here and pull down. Oops, didn't work. Grab it, and pull down. And ta-da, it's going to increment. So you have each time incremented by 1 second. So I'm just going to pull that all the way down. It's going to take a little while. I got to get all the way to the end of the data so that all of them is calculated as a function of time. Oh, that's where it stops. So I'll go right to there. Boom. So up to 251 seconds. All right. So let's see. I'm just going to call this bunny fox simulation. I'm going to call it number 1 because I think you're going to do it 3 times. So now I want to select all of this data. So I'll go click that, and then I'll scroll down and I'll click the bottom corner. Where'd it go? Here it is. Shift, click. I've selected that. Now I want to graph it. And so I'm going to insert a chart. And there is the chart. And it gives me some recommendations. I'm not loving this one because it only has the number of bunnies, and I want the number of foxes on the graph too. So I'm going to go over here to chart types. Let's try it that way. Yeah, no, I still don't get the bunnies to show up. So here's a little trick that gets the bunnies to show up because I played around with this a little bit. If you scroll down to your chart types to this one down here, it's going to give you 3 graphs: time, foxes, bunnies. You don't really want it this way, but what you go back now that it's kind of figured out that there's 2 different animals it's tracking, now if you go back to this one, align, now it makes sense. So now you've got your foxes. They didn't do too well in this simulation. And then your bunnies that did very well because there weren't any foxes to eat them. So now your graph is done. So then you hit insert, insert. And now you can take this little graph, you can copy it, and you can create a Google Doc. Let's go new Google Doc. And I'll say, Fox Bunny simulation #1. And now I'm going to drop that little graph in. And it says, do you want to link? And I say, yeah, go ahead, link. That means if you change it in one place, it'll change it in both places. So there you go. Now you've got your graph. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go back and run the simulation again. You're going to get completely different data. You're going to export it into little text files. You're going to copy those data into, you could use the same Google Sheet if you want, the one you had over here before, this one. Regraph it, copy that graph, put it in your Google Doc. You're going to have a total of 3 Google Doc graphs, and then you're going to share that Google Doc in the URL when you submit. So you're going to go share, let's see, okay, yeah, Fox Bunny, I'll have to name it first. Now I can get a shareable link, I can copy that, and I can submit that as my URL so that someone else could look at it, namely me, your grader. Okay, good luck and have fun.